Hey guys. Hey Warren. Poppy, g'day. John McNary, hello. Mark, g'day. Peter Noddle, hello. David, g'day. Tommy, the grinding master. Duncan, hello. Ted, g'day. And Matty, hello. Gosh, that's a mixed lot. Goodness gracious. Don't know if there's much to report. It's been a busy weekend. Did some actual machining and did some like R&D stuff that probably could have waited, but it didn't. Didn't fix this stupid camera gantry that's got a loose. The ball joint is less than good here on this, and the socket I have an arm on it doesn't seem to hang tight, so we get a bit of this, and I'm sorry about that. If you get seasick, let me know. Hey Kevin. Man Cave Metals, g'day. Casual Steel, hello. And Paddy, g'day. Got a hot glue would fix that joint. It might be the answer actually. It's only got one grub screw on a circle in a groove, and it's really not the answer. I'm going to probably make something decent, I think. Like drill and tap a piece of steel and pop rivet it in the tube and then screw it on nice and do a decent job of it, because the way it is now, it's just not good. It's been like it too long now. But we will fix it. Parcel today from Man Cave. Look at that. Plans. What do we got? I need a surface grinder. That's the problem. But this is D2. K110 D2. And so is this. A couple of nice blocks. This looks like, sort of looks like a surface comparator base or something like that, I think. I don't know. Still very... Bought these on spec. No projects for either of them. Sorry. And this is D2. It's about 28 millimeters, and that's bronze, I think. Look at that. That's PB1, which is for a project. Snow tomorrow. Snow is not going to happen here. Good morning, Mr. Slawson. So what's first? That's what come today. So I have to think of a project for that. It looks like 1, 2, 3 blocks to me, but 25 by 50 by 75 blocks, something like that. Same stuff. We'll see. Need a surface grinder. Probably not going to happen. This is, I'm sure there's a few projects in that. It's just handy to have. And this one, it's a big lump of stuff. Don't know yet. Stand by. You can go in the drawer. Thanks, Tom. There's grinding to be done, but I don't know, there's always is. So, progress. There's a video up on Patreon about this rotten thing. I shouldn't say that. It's not really like that. I'm happy to harden them and machine stuff and that sort of thing, but we'll see what happens with that. We'll see. Don't hold your breath. It was some offcuts and things that he had, and I think he's got a few more. If anyone's interested, hit him up. Hit him up on Facebook or wherever, Instagram, or email him, whatever. And I think he had some other blocks and stuff too, so get them while they're hot. He takes a shout out for Man Cave. He's pretty good, and he only posted them yesterday, and they're all here today. That's awesome. Board this. Look at this. How cool is that? It's not as cool as I'd like, but it's not too shabby. Doesn't touch here. And it doesn't touch here. I hope that this is somewhere in the middle. I think it is. I did my best maths to work it out. And I hope it's somewhere near power perpendicular to the crank, which I think it is too. But anyway, we'll see. This 3D printed, this is a beautiful 3D print that Marcus Wilson, JB from Oz, printed for me with his fancy resin printer. It is really a nice print. This is pretty flash. But just to get our lengths right and piston displacement and stuff all right, and most importantly clearance under here, which we haven't got, works that way up, but only because I ground the side of it off here. Need to put it up the other way and it touches, so probably this is going to get a recess in the bottom. I think it's the easiest way when we get the crank. This is bigger than expected, or bigger than we really thought. It's a pretty nice bore in there. It really is. It needs probably a run through with a hone quickly. Zzz. That's probably all it's going to get to put a cross hatch in it. It's not going to get bored or honed much. And then we'll make a piston to fit it. We've got the piston half made. It's just a matter of machining it to size and putting some ring grooves in it. But this was quite an ordeal, and in the end it machined beautifully. Bit of work in this yet, but it's starting to look like an engine, which I'm really pleased about. What size the bore end up? About 34.7, something like that. So just a fraction under 35 millimeters. It would have been fine. Scale size was about 33.2, 33.5. So, don't know if you can see that, but it's sort of that much too big. Won't hurt. It's a bit thin in here, but it's not going to worry anything. Everything's cleaned up nice. And because it's a bit bigger is probably why it clears here and here, and we don't have to worry about shortening this up or anything to make it work. So I'm pretty pleased with it. We haven't got any holes. We haven't gone through the surface anywhere that we know of. It doesn't want to be much bigger than that though. So next job's the cylinder head and the piston and the con rod, I guess. Little things like valves and, or like an oiler and a camshaft. They're all nice. No hard spots in this. We thought we had one in the back. It had a real round shoulder in the back that was, and a taper, and we really weren't happy with that. But the reason I think it wasn't cutting is that the boring bar was sticking out so far, and all the angles and things were wrong, because when we fixed it and we put quite a sizable, for example, decent boring bar through with an adjustable cutter that went through it, was sort of that stocky. It just cut like butter, and it's beautiful and parallel and really, really nice, and I'm pleased with it. Hey, Anthony. So, quite the project, but we're underway again. Paint's starting to look a bit ratty. Needs a bit of work. The piston's there. We've already got that cross-drilled and machined in the back, and rough to size. It's still too big to go in the hole by quite a bit. So we'll have to clean that up and put some grooves in it, I think. Intake and exhaust are in the head. Intake is automatic. It's a gas engine, so it's kind of atmospheric pressure in the head or in the carburetor. And exhaust is worked by a push rod and a tappet on here. We've been messing with the cylinder head, which is like this, and that shows the position of the valves and the spark plug in the top. So, a bit of work. We've got some piston rings there, I hope. We'll get onto that. As soon as the hone comes, we'll get the piston in it and we'll see how we go from there. But it's coming up nice. What else is happening? Hashtag Coathanger 2020. Who's up to speed with this? Rustanox, awesome channel. Really good fun. Entering the tool making competition. Check out Rustanox's channel. If you don't already subscribe to him, you should be. It's pretty slack if you're not. He's put up a challenge to build coat hangers. Pretty good fun. Hashtag Coathanger 2020. If you click on the hashtag on this video or on his video, or just type it in the search bar, you put in hashtag or hash Coathanger 2020, you'll come up with all the videos related to that. There isn't any at the moment because I just looked, but should be good fun. Maddie's confused. What are you confused about, Maddie? G'day, Richard. And hey, Dennis. So, hashtag Coathanger 2020. That should be pretty fun. Go and check out Rustanox's video on making a coat hanger. Pretty keen to get involved in that and to get something out. Now, has anyone else even thought about it or made coat hanger? Yeah. Coathanger 2020. If you haven't seen it, Matty, you should. I think it's open to interpretation. You can make of it what you like, but has anyone even thought about making a coat hanger? Anthony's going to do a funny one. I've got something planned. I don't know. It's probably going to be decorative and a little bit amusing, I hope. I've done some sketches, but that's about it. Pretty excited about that. But get behind you if you could. Rustanox is a great guy. Don't know any idea what to make. Sketch something up. Get a book out. I've got some ideas, and it's sort of I'm getting the pictures I'm getting in my mind are probably way too complicated for a coat hanger, so I better get started soon. That's where I'm at. Probably too much of a job. What else? I've done this thing. I've downsized ER20 collets in the mill. I've got a gripe about Chinese tool makers. Every single Morse Taper 2 by M10 tool I buy, I've got to run a thread through it before an M10 thread will fit it. That's a pain because it wrecks your taps, because these are pretty hard. We'll talk about it, Matty. We'll get something worked out. So the thing is, I've got other collet chucks. Right, I've got an ER32. I think I've got an ER25. This is an ER20. And the reason I've done this is that ER32 is too much in the way. You can't see past it. It's got too much stick out and you lose too much space on the mill. And it's too big, because this will hold a 1/2 inch end mill, no problems at all. And poor Dennis is cringing over there. And that's all I'm ever going to need. I mean, seriously, that's all I'm ever going to need in my little mill. So I've gone to ER20. Hey, Anne. ER8 set with an adapter. Okay. That's not very big. Anyway, we've got a little launch that we're going to rebuild over here, and we've got ideas for collets about that. Hey, Fridge, good to see ya. You must be home from work. This is another project that I've been working on, and I guess you've all seen this. Hey, Willem, good to see you. This is the thread cutting attachment for the lathe. Right, this goes on the spindle. And we should have a 3-position detent here like this, which should give us reverse, neutral, and forward. That's the idea. That's the thoughts. This is all adjustable and means a necessity, because I've already made this mistake with the steady. We won't talk about the steady just yet, but we're working on that. In that this is very difficult to get this profile right, so that it sits nicely in the right spot on the lathe bed. This doesn't matter. This is where basically the drive to the compound goes. And within a certain thing, this doesn't matter. I've thought about this and I've repositioned it a dozen times, and I've chopped it off here a couple of times, and I've shortened it up and all sorts of things. And this is where I think it needs to be, because it's going to clear everything there and there's not going to be any problems. So we've worked that out. This leaves enough room for a locking bolt for that banjo. Pretty confident this is not going to look anything like this. This banjo is much too complicated. Probably it's just going to have one strip there and maybe two, and it's only going to be fairly wide. It's going to be a bit smaller, and it's going to bolt on there with a lock bolt and a quadrant here of some sort. And that should give us the right spacing to put these on here and line them up. So that's the theory. But because this is difficult to line up, we've worked this out. I've got these on a slide, or on a on a slot in here so that we can adjust these in and out. That's the theory. This is just 3D printed and it's pretty crap. Also going to, I think, we're going to make basically an eccentric bushing with holes around it and a grub screw to adjust it, so we can adjust the eccentricity, and we can adjust this up and down like this too, or more to the point, it's going to adjust this up and down on the stud, so we can get a bit closer or a bit further away. That's the theory. And this is going to have this screw here has just got a bolt in it at the moment, but we're going to have another eccentric there, I think. This is getting complicated, and I apologize. And a needle roller bearing in the back here with probably a circlip on the back of it, so that this spins nicely, and we can move this bush in the actual frame, which goes through here like this. We can adjust this to move this whole thing up and down, including this. So hopefully the distances between there and there, the gears should actually mesh everywhere. That's the theory, and not be too rattly, and we should be able to adjust it all. Don't know, but that's where I'm at with that. Hey John. The two smaller gears, Raymond. Yes, this one and this one, they need to run together, because that's your tumbler reverse. This one needs to run on this one, and then see if you put it up there, it connects through this extra one and gives you an extra reverse. If you put it down there, it connects through this one. That's exaggerated, but that gives you the forward direction. So we should be able to, this one should run on there, and this should be just an idler when it's in forward, and when it's in reverse it should give you an extra rotation. So that's how that works. As far as I know, this is, well, that's probably how it's going to work. This turtle shaped piece is kind of what we're going to make it. It needs a clearance here for the main gear and the head, and it needs this piece out here for a lock, and we're going to put a bolt or probably a cam lever on here with a locking lever to pull the T-slot, or a bolt up and down with the T-nut screwed on the bottom, so we can adjust it so that you can lock that tight on the T-slot, and it's not going to move backwards and forwards. This is going to be 20 millimeters thick, and hopefully when it's finished it'll sit and lock nicely on the bed like this, and not be self-contained, and the head will just sit up against it. There'll be three, like 1, 2, 3 detents in here to give you the 3 positions, and hopefully from that it should only need the 2 holes in it. This one will have probably a needle roller through here with some sort of a system so that I can take this off if I need to, and this will connect to the back here like this. And it'll also have like a system like this, I guess. With a bush and a key, so that I can put whichever 2 gears on here we want, and then lock it probably with a nut on the back or a screw or something. So that's the theory. These have got they're slotted so that they'll go in the slot on the banjo. Hey Stephen, good day. I could bolt some plate to my steady works, and to be honest, I've already thought of that. Seriously, the difference is that I've only got about an inch. The T-slot on the back where it bolts on is only about 25 millimetre or 20 millimetres long. So it only needs to be that long. So, Paddy, yeah. Good to see you, Stephen. No parcel from you yet, but there's more people waiting for parcels from me than there is sending me parcels, so I'm not really going to say too much about that. This is for the launch. This is for the big launch. This is a gear cutting attachment for that. Not building a quick change box. If you want to see that, go and check out Tommy Gun Machining, because he's that crazy, that kind of crazy. But this is fairly straightforward. It's just going to have a series of change gears, and to be honest, I cheated and I bought these off eBay really cheap. They're one module mini lathe change wheels, and they're pretty nice, and they're all got the same hole and the same keyway and everything in them, so you can get as many of them as you like, and that's a quick, easy way to do that. So that's where we're at with that, is trying to organize someone to cut this nicely, or pretty nicely, in probably 20mm steel plate, and then we can get straight on with that. And probably I'm going to cut this in 12mm. I don't know, aluminium is probably going to chew up, but probably just 12mm plate of some sort, maybe, to go on here. Metric and imperial threads. Yes, I should. I've been messing with that, because you can't buy a 63 tooth or a 127 tooth gear. I really want a 63. Hey Tommy, it's too much work. You've got a surface grinder now. You can make another one and sell that one. Water jet would be ideal, or it might get EDM'd yet. We'll see. I've got this plate, which is a direct index plate, which I 3D printed for my dividing head to cut a 63 tooth gear. Might work, but that's the theory on that one. So we should be able to cut metric and imperial to a certain extent. I would like to... I think Mife would do, Paddy, you're right, but it won't have a 12mm center hole in it, probably. So, anyway, probably you can get a 63 or 127 tooth one of these. You can't get a 127 tooth one because they don't fit inside the gear guard on a mini lathe. That's something I've learned from watching videos. But you probably can get a 63 tooth, and I'm not sure there's enough space on here either to put 127 on. There probably is. And Darren says Modford aren't Module 1. They're not either. So they're available. All the bits are available. But I'm probably going to make myself one. Yeah, I've got a 2mm metric lead screw, so I'm probably going to convert it to imperial rather than convert it to metric. Thanks, Paddy. I will. I'll send you an email. The Hercus 9 probably is the same as a South Bend. I'm not sure about that. But this is it's pretty doable. It's all kind of doable. And it's starting to look more doable now than it was, because, to be honest, this part here has been fairly daunting with this, how all this works, and making it adjustable enough so that everything meshes together. I've been working on that. Got a bit of bronze though. That's what that's for, is for the eccentric bush. And I've ordered some needle rollers to go inside a bush that looks like this, so that this spins, because if we put bronze bushes in here, I don't think we can really oil this properly or successfully. So I'm going to put needle roller bearings and probably a bit of grease and say that's going to be good enough for a bit, and at some point we'll pull them apart and pack them again. So that's the theory behind putting roller bearings in there. All these have got bronze bushes in them. These two have got bronze bushes in them. They run pretty nice, and they've got flats on them too to go in that slot. I'm not sure how these screws, hard screws, are going to stay done up, or whether they're going to turn. Once we get it all adjusted, it might be a good idea to put a bit of Loctite on them. I'm not sure. Still thinking about that. We could drill them and put the other option is probably to drill them and put a nylon bush, screw-in nylon bush in the side of them, so that they're like nylock nuts. That might work too. Always thinking. I think you're right, Tommy. I'm not cutting crazy long threads. This thing will have a capacity of basically my compound slide, which is about 90 millimeters. So this is, I'd like to get this finished. I'd really like to get this working, because there's 1,000 other projects that I'd like to do that this is needed for. So as far as tool making, this is the priority. My dividing head. We've probably, I sort of thought we all seen our dividing head, but John, dividing head's in a box here somewhere. Let's have a look. This yellow box, which is a really impractical colour for anything, I've since discovered. It's dirty, impossible to keep clean. Don't paint stuff yellow. It looks good. I have a yellow backpack too, and that's not much good either. But this is the dividing head. That's the tailstock. Huge thanks to John Creasy for making up this angle bracket. It's really nice. And for grinding all this up. Thanks to Tom Lipton for this poor little orphan V-block, which we finally used. Thanks to JB from Oz for cutting these in polycarbonate. And this is it. So it's not huge, but it's probably not even big enough to cut a 127 tooth gear, but I think it might be. Not going to happen though. So that's the dividing head. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't think... I'm going to see, and probably I'm going to get it together a bit. And if I've got room for a 127, I might even cut one. But at this point, I'm not seeing as it's probably going to be an issue. Spare room machine shop in here. Take care, Anthony. Good to see you. Thanks for dropping in. So that's where we're at with that. This is probably going to need some spacers or washers. I don't know whether to put them on the plate or whether to build them into the... make them separate and a good fit, or whether to build them into the bits that go on it. Probably going to need something there and something there, I think. Or whether to make this out of thicker plate even and machine this back, but I really think that's more work than it's worth. So At this point, I'm probably going to make a bush to go through this hole with a step on one end of it so that it sticks out a bit further. And I might even do the same with this and make a bigger bush that this will go into. Not sure yet. So working on that. Crazy project. Progress on these. Working on these too. These are looking pretty nice. I had trouble getting washers for these. Self-aligning washers kits for these. Stephen Lang. Big thanks, Stephen. Has posted them. So they're on their way. I'm still looking for a bit of 1214 that's 50 mil square. If anyone sees a bit in their travels or thinks of me or knows where he can buy it in Australia, hit me up. Because I'm just going to make these out of soft stuff and then case harden them, I think, rather than mess around and cut them out of tool steel or something stupid like that. I think it's probably the easiest way. They'll show up, Stephen, eventually. Probably the easiest way is to cut them out of something soft. We could cut them out of brass if I get a bit of 50 by 50 brass, but that's going to hurt. And probably aluminium and anodize them would be nice too, but I don't know how long they'll last either. They're all in compression here, so anything will do. And to be honest, these 3D prints at about 15% infill are heaps strong enough to tighten something down or to bolt something down on the mill and do work with. Like there's enough compression strength in these to actually use them as they are. So anything would do. It's just that these have like a ratchet on them to stop them coming apart, and if you make them out of something really soft, they'll strip, I think. So I might do them out of 1214 or 12L14 and case harden them. I think that's where I'm at with that. No, nothing flash like that, John. It started life as a grinder fixture that someone gave me, and I've just bumped that. Why is my subscriber count not working? Anyway, and I've basically rebuilt it and done a bit of a job on that and put a spindle on it that fits all my Lorch collets and stuff, and I'm really pleased with it actually. But it's fairly simple and not real big. My milling machine's not very big, and anything bigger than that gets in the way. So these are work in progress too. At the moment, I'm looking for material. So if anyone sees or anyone's looking around a scrap metal merchant and sees a bit of 50 mil square brass or 50 mil for something soft or cast iron even, hit us up. And happy to pay postage and whatever it's worth, just to get it back on these and get them started again. So that's what I'm up to. No progress on the whole Makers Meetup 2020. That's going to happen. I'm pretty confident about that. I've been talking to Bruce about it a bit, and he's been rapidly recruiting people for committees, things like that. If anyone's interested in giving us a hand or adding some expertise or adding to the melting pot, whatever else, it's this first week in October and it's in Melbourne in Australia, and there'll be a few of us there, and I've got a lot of replies about it, and there's some cool stuff we're going to do. But would really appreciate someone to give us a hand. Anyway, that's what's happening. Got some case hardening powder for compound, and I'll show you this. You may have some thoughts about it. All right, I use this a lot, but for some reason it's been sitting under a water drip or it's taken on water this little plastic screw top jar obviously isn't watertight, and I don't know why. See you, Richard. Thanks for dropping in. But this is wet. Now, it all seems to work pretty well because I used it the other day to harden some gears. It seems to work fairly well wet or dry. But it's not really the answer. So I think I'm going to have to either dry it out or get some more cherry red. And probably I'm just going to buy a new jar of it because there's not enough there to do the job I want to do anyway. But I'm wondering if I put these in the oven on a tray, whether it's going to actually dry out without actually killing me. I'm not sure yet. If anyone has any expertise on drying out cherry red case hardening powder, because I think it is cherry red, let us know. It's got to be done inside probably, and I'm not real good about that. While we're on that subject, my mate John Pettit here in Brisbane was cleaning out an industrial complex that he was sort of on the ground with, and he had a big bag of silica gel, so I'm putting silica gel in stuff at the moment to try and stop it all rusting. I think I'm going to have to modify the X scale on my mill for the DRO. I bought this come today from another metal supplier. Trouble is, not everyone has everything, and if they did, I'd just buy off one supplier, but it's a bit of an ask. Oops. Bought this, which is 20 by 10 millimeter aluminium. I'm just going to screw this to the runners just to give it a bit of lateral strength, because when you move the scale, it gives you a false reading. So I'm going to clean the ends up nice and just screw this on on the scale and give it hopefully a bit of strength this way as well as this way, and strengthen that up, if that makes any sense. So that's another project that I'm going to have to tackle before that's finished. Is anyone still awake there? I don't know. Anyway, I think that's pretty well covered everything. Take care, Dennis. Good to see you. Keep well. How does which stuff work? Maddie, how does which stuff work? Of course you're awake. Fridge, go back and watch the beginning. We've already been through the Stewart and how that's going. I did spend some time on that, and don't really want to repeat myself, if that's all right. But first 5-10 minutes we talked about this. So for those of you who come in late, we've already covered that. Yeah, you missed it. There's still very little progress on fitting up a rotary table and that little vise in the big vise yet. Still got to do that. It looks like I've got plenty to do anyway. I don't know if anyone noticed, but there's plenty of other jobs here. One of hey, Go Create, g'day. Great channel. Go check out Go Create. Really good series on making copper boilers. For one of the engines that's kind of close to my heart, actually. It's one of my favourites. It's good to see you. I could do that, John. That would take a bit of pressure off. We could do that. The pink stuff, silica gel. You know those little satchels you get with your welding wire and leather goods and things like that? Little paper satchel that says silica gel, do not eat, something like that written on it. That's the stuff that's in it. John McManaro, this stuff's not cyanide based. I don't think so. I used to have some that was cyanide based and that was really good stuff. This is called Cherry Red and it's not supposed to be liquid or soup or whatever this is. It's supposed to be a dry powder. What you do is you heat the part up and you plunge it in and then you heat it up again until it cooks on. And then you quench it and clean it up with a wire brush and you've got a case hardened surface. It's pretty good stuff. Got taken off the market in 1937, that's right. If you have got a can of case hardening compound that's cyanide based, don't tell anyone, just use it. And use it in a ventilated area, please. Same goes for this stuff. This will make you pretty sick in a closed environment. It's pretty noxious. No real progress on the little launch. I have got a box of collets, which are 10mm Derbyshire, which are little short 10mm collets. I'm thinking seriously about messing around and fitting them or making it so it does fit them, because Sherline in particular and a couple other companies still make Derbyshire collets, and if you wanted a new set you could still buy them. So I'm still thinking about that. Yeah, the stuff you used to get with cyanide based, good stuff. But that's the new one, and it's not a bad product. It's called Cherry Red. It's American, I think. Yeah, that's a long stretch, Paddy. There's a lot of cool stuff pops up on Facebook and on Instagram from 2 or 3 creators or 2 or 3 workshops that take great delight in collecting tools and showing them every week. Eccentric Engineering's one of them. Tom Lipton's another one of them. Who else? Stefan's another one of them who's a bit terrible at that. And as far as I can see, there's enough tool making projects to get you through for the next 150 years. That's the way it is. I'd be inclined to work outside if I was trying to dry that stuff too, John. I think I'm just going to buy another box of it. I really don't like it, and I don't like my chances much of putting it on a tray in the oven. I think that's a bit nasty. I'm not that stupid. At this point. Question for all you mechanic guys. I've got a snap-on screwdriver with a chipped end. This one's not it. There's another one in the box. The end's half missing. The hardened tip's half missing off it. Are they likely to guarantee that? Or not? If anyone knows the answer to that, if someone knows the answer to that, I might take it back. It is a yellow one, which is probably much easier to replace. That's why I got yellow and not the hot pink or the purple, which was kind of the cool colours at the time when I bought these, and I really wanted the hot pink ones. But Dad talked me into getting yellow, I think, because yeah, and he probably did the right thing. Thanks, Warren. Oh yeah, I know a snap-on guy. Yeah, I'd forgotten about that. Okay. Thanks, Warren. Appreciate that. They were pretty expensive, and I've got one. I'll get it and show you. Back when I was young and silly and had money for things like this, S.J. Dawson, thank you. This one's got a chip out of it. I don't know if you can see that, can you? We'll try and get it to focus on there. Yeah, it's a big ask. But that one's got a chip out of it, and I'm not real happy about that. Don't know how that happened. Don't think I was using it as a screwdriver, as a chisel. I'm pretty sure I wasn't, actually, because they're mine and I paid for them. But if they replace the shaft, that'd be good enough. Thanks, Brian. I might be in touch about that. Anyway, I just noticed the other day, and it's probably been like it for 10 years, to be honest. These I bought probably nearly 20 years ago. These coloured ones had just come out, I think, when I bought them, so it was a while ago. They're good screwdrivers. Anyway, this one's fine, really. It's had a bit of a rough life, but it's not damaged or bent or anything, I don't think, really. We can live with that. This one here is the one that's chipped, so at some point I'll get that sorted. They do tend to be brittle. Pin punches in particular seem to be not take a pounding. I've got a set of snap-on pin punches, and they don't seem to take as much of a pounding as some others. I've got some no-name brand ones I bought at a market, which are fantastic, and they're old, but they're pretty good compared to the snap-on ones. Anyway, apart from that, the screwdrivers are nice. Anyway, I think we're about done. I've just about covered everything. Go check out Russ and Knox video. Check out the hashtag every now and again, which is Coathanger 2020. Get your thinking caps on, because I can't wait to see what everyone comes up with. I've got a bit of a plan, but it's still a bit sketchy. And what else? Summer Bash has been announced. I'm not going. That's the 20th of, I think, the 20th of June 2020. First day of summer in Rancho Cucamonga in California. I'm not going. I'm not going to make it. But if you are interested in going, you should make it if you can. Hit up Stan Zinkowski, Buzzy Industrial on YouTube. Pretty good party, well worth a trip. Lots of cool people to meet. Go and hang with Mr. Pete and all those. Anyway, I'm out. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, all my new subscribers. Big thanks. Be kind to each other in particular. And not so particular if you aren't. Ignore Twitter and all the stupid political stuff that's happening at the moment and go and make something cool. So, see you next week.